Much love, and I am Wayne Johnson with Doc and Queen Ministries. Got a marriage workshop coming to you April 18th and 19th in Richmond, Virginia. It's going to be dynamic because it's going to share with you what thus says the Lord about marriage. So we're going to be attacking marriage from a spiritual mindset, what God says about marriage. Want to make sure that you are present. It is going to be helpful and informative. The thing is, many of us wait to the last minute before we recognize the things that we need to know. So we got a great lesson on today. We're going to come from 1 Peter chapter 3. It's going to start with the first verse and go all the way down, I believe, to verse 7. It's entitled in many of your interpretations, husband and wives. So let us go ahead and get started with that. And it reads, in the same way, you wives should be willing to serve your husbands. Then even those who have refused to accept God's teachings will be persuaded to believe because of the way you live. You will not need to say anything. Your husbands will see the pure lives that you live with respect for God. It is not fancy hair, gold jewelry, or fine clothes that should make you beautiful. No, your beauty should come from inside you. The beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit. That beauty will never disappear. It is worth very much to God. It was the same with the holy women who lived long ago and followed God. They made themselves beautiful in that same way. They were willing to serve their husbands. I am talking about women like Sarah. She obeyed Abraham, her husband, and called him her master. And you women are true children of Sarah if you always do what is right and are not afraid. In the same way, your husband should live with your wives in an understanding way. Since they are weaker than you, you should show them respect because God gives them the same blessing he gives you, the grace of true life. Do this so that nothing will stop your prayers from being heard. This is key, and I know I have touched on this a lot, but it is always more and more and more revelation that you get, more stuff that you know about, a lot to learn. And this time I want to focus more from the husband's standpoint, because early on it talks about what the wives do and what the wives should do and the results of that. Now, I want to say this about the husbands. Husbands, this is important to you because you are the lead. You are the one in charge. Sarah here called her husband master. Now, I'm not saying that women today should do that because that's just not a part of the custom as of now. But women are to serve their husband. And husbands, you are to serve your wives as well. Understand that you both are equal partners. She happens to be weaker, as this says, but show your wife respect. And in order to show your wife respect, you first have to make sure that you are showing up as a man. Many times when we are younger, as boys trying to be men, and the picture in the back of me is when I was in high school, I had to learn how to show up as a man before I can show up as a husband. And there were times evidently through my marriage, and I can think of some times in particular where I didn't even show up as a man. So if I wasn't acting as a man, then I could not serve, protect, and keep my wife safe because I wasn't operating like God had intended me to operate. So first, as a man, we have to make sure that we are doing what thus says the Lord and showing up as a man. We can't be lazy. We have to provide. We have to take care. We have to know what truly is our responsibilities. And when we fall short of that, when we have it where our wives doesn't feel like they can trust us, or we have let them down, we aren't showing up as a man. And if you're not ready to be a man, then clearly you're not being that husband that God has chose you to be. By you being the leader, you must always stay on point, because as the leader goes, the rest of the team goes as well. I really want to emphasize verse number 7, because verse number 7 says, in the same way, you husband should live with your wives in an understanding way. Since they are weaker than you, you should show them respect, because God gives them the same blessing he gives you. That right there tells you that the two are one. The grace of true life. Do this so that nothing will stop your prayers from being heard. So if you live with your wife with an understanding way, and recognizing that she's weaker but she's equal to you, and you show her respect, that the blessings that God is giving you, he's also giving her. And if you don't want your prayers hindered but answered, then you have to do these things and show respect for your wife. And when you show respect for your wife, you show respect for yourself, you show your respect to God, you show your respect to your kids, you show your respect to your kids, you show your respect to the community. You are just doing what God has called you to do. And there's nothing better, I believe, for a wife when she knows that she can trust in her man and that she has no worries. A wife shouldn't have to expect that she has to look through their man's phone, her husband's phone, or that she's got to track him. I'm not saying not to do, but I'm saying she shouldn't have to feel like she has to do. She shouldn't have a care in the world, because she knows that you have submitted not only to God, but you've also submitted to yourself and to her. And when you do that, and she knows that you are a product of God and trying to always do what's best and do what God says, then she will feel secure. And so, husbands, we have a responsibility as kings of the marriage, is to take care, honor, respect not only ourselves but our wives, which also respects God and what God has brought together in the unity of marriage. Husbands, do your very best to be there for your wife. Always thinking about, when you disrespect her, you disrespect yourself. Understand, she is you. Do not allow the enemy's tricks to come in and pull you to apart. Take care. God bless. Much love.